Hello everybody, I just want to talk about dealing with inflammatory bowel disease. When any disease a person is suffering from, when you're trying to get better, it's number one helpful to listen to people that have been successful before you. But another thing is you want to listen to somebody who's been where you're at, so they can not just have the knowledge and the information, but they can understand on an emotional level of what you're dealing with and what you're going through. And for all of you that are suffering or know somebody suffering from inflammatory bowel disease, and I don't say experiencing only, I say suffering, because this is an illness that will create a lot of suffering if you're not prepared to handle it the right way. And when you have inflammatory bowel disease, it's a little different than other diseases out there. And there's a lot of suffering that goes along with all diseases. But inflammatory bowel disease is something that could make somebody pretty much not able to leave their house because of the situation. And learning to deal with inflammatory bowel disease can be an emotional battle, because it changes or it forces you to change your whole lifestyle and everything you do and everything you want to do. I've had some nightmare stories of experiences I had because I didn't change my lifestyle and I tried to live the same lifestyle and still deal with this inflammatory bowel disease. I remember when I was suffering from inflammatory bowel disease and I was working in a financial district in New York City, they would let all the other employees go out for a coffee break, once an hour, maybe once every 2 hours, maybe even a cigarette break every 15 minutes. But if I went to the bathroom too much, they would complain, I'm not doing my job, I'm going to the bathroom too much. I remember when I was in college taking some tests and I had to get up and go to the bathroom over and over again, they thought I was cheating because I kept going to the bathroom. And people don't understand. So dealing with inflammatory bowel disease, it's dealing with yourself, but also dealing with other people and making people aware of what's going on. But on the other hand, you don't want to let people know what's going on, because it can be quite embarrassing for some people because of what inflammatory bowel disease does and creates. So what I want to do and teach people is how to deal with inflammatory bowel disease. And the best thing I have found when it comes to dealing with inflammatory bowel disease is to understand there's a way up and there's a way down. And the way up is the way that you're working towards getting better. It builds your confidence. You have enthusiasm in what you're doing. You have knowledge about what you're doing, and you're getting well. The way down is there's no answer. You don't know what the future is going to hold. You've been given this death sentence that's just waiting for you. Your body's wasting away, and nobody understands what you're going through, and it can make you depressed. So there's these two paths, and depending on which path you're going to take, will depend how you deal with it. And on this website, I teach people how to deal with it for the path on the way up, the positive path. And that's what I want to do, and I want to help people realize that, because it's physically, it just, it'll wreck the body, but emotionally, it's even a bigger thing if we don't know how to deal with it. So we have to understand we have this dis-ease, inflammatory bowel, an inflamed bowel disease, and what are we going to do, and why do we have it, and all these questions come up. First of all, we have to understand dis-ease. We need to change that word to discomfort, because it means the same thing, but when we hear the word dis-ease, we get really scared and there's a lot of fear attached to that word. We have a dis-ease. But when we use the word discomfort, it's the same exact thing as dis-ease, but it doesn't have that same fear connected to it. So if somebody says you have a disease, you say, oh no, my life is over, that's terrible. But if somebody says you have discomfort, you say, yeah, I know I have discomfort, I want to get rid of it. And dis-ease is dis-ease. Your body is no longer at ease. It's uncomfortable. So discomfort. You're experiencing discomfort. So inflammatory bowel discomfort. That's what it is. So we could look at it that way, and then we could deal with it. How do we get rid of this discomfort? Well, again, there's two paths. There's the way the doctors, they'll give you some drug or to kill the pain. But the way I choose is to find out what's causing the pain and eliminate that. If you eliminate the cause, very often the problem goes away. Depending how we deal with the inflammatory bowel discomfort will determine how it's going to be in our emotional state and how we deal with other people. And it's a tremendous difference in our healing as well, because when we're doing it in a positive way and we're seeing improvement, it helps us feel better. We're not as stressed out, we're not as worried, and that there's many other aspects of health besides the inflammatory bowel discomfort we're suffering from. So if we're looking at the negative way, it can be very hard on our bodies, and that takes a toll on our health as well. So for anyone dealing with inflammatory bowel discomfort, I want you to know I'm here to help you. If you have comments or questions, there's places on my websites and below the videos, and you can put questions, and I'll do my best to answer those. And I just want you to be encouraged that you can get better. And with my advice, I pray that you'll improve. But you got to be consistent, and you got to be patient, and you got to have good understanding. And we can deal with this inflammatory bowel discomfort. All right. Well, we'll see you in another video, and look around my website here, and hang in there.